Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. Hopefully, you all had a good weekend. You guys are rested and ready for another day, or another week, excuse me, of online learning. It was really nice to see all you guys on Friday. If you guys didn't make it to the Zoom session last week, please try to make it this Friday. We're going to do it the same thing. It was really nice to check in with you guys to see what's going on, see what you guys are doing at home, seeing what's working, what's not working for you guys. Also, if you have questions, feel free to keep messaging us or messaging me and your other teacher as well. Okay. So today, if you notice, I am in the clouds. Just wanted to give you a quick update. So I know we've been talking a lot about the negative things about the coronavirus, but we can also start thinking about the positive things. One thing that I want to tell you guys is that even though the coronavirus is keeping us at home and we're bored and we have nothing to do, there's some positive things, like from the Zoom sessions, you guys are able to stay home, hang out with your families, which is really cool. You guys are having more time to yourselves. I'm really happy to hear that the meditation went really well for you guys, and that you guys felt at peace. And it was time after that you guys kind of stopped worrying about your homework and you guys were able to have a good day. So that's something nice. You guys have more time to yourself. Another positive thing is that if you haven't noticed, the environment's changing, the climate's changing. It's been a lot more cleaner outside. The air is nicer. The clouds, like if you can see back here, are like that. It's reported that in China, they can actually see blue skies, and they haven't seen blue skies in a really long time. And they showed like satellite images. The pollution is going down. The rivers in Greece, you can actually see through the rivers and see the bottom of the floor now. In Venice, the canals in Italy, you can actually, the water that flows through the city is not green anymore, it's actually clear. So those are some benefits of the coronavirus, with not a lot of people out there polluting in the factories and everything closed. So that's something that we have to look up to. Speaking of which, I do have a message though, a special guest, and you guys are gonna like this one. Hold on. So that was kind of cool. The Earth gave us a little shout out. Yeah, so just take this time, go outside for a little bit, get some fresh air, start to do things that you don't normally have to do. Pick up a new hobby, draw, paint, make some music, anything that makes you happy during these times. So take advantage of it and think of the positive side. Okay. So I'll check back in with you guys tomorrow, but let's go ahead and let's jump into review and get into the lesson for today. See ya. Alright, so last time we talked about how Cyrus the Great was able to grow his huge Persian army. And one way that he did it was he got lucky, actually. They were taken over by Medes, if you remember Medes, and they ruled them for 150 years, and then eventually they decided, no, we got to take this back for us. So Cyrus, he was a great leader, and what he did was he started to take over his enemies. But when he took over his enemies, one reason that put him apart from everybody else was he allowed all the people that he conquered to still practice their rituals, their religions, and pretty much he did everything to keep them happy, and he took care of them. So they didn't really feel like they were getting taken over, which was really good because this helped them grow a really strong empire. When he started to go towards the Mediterranean Sea, he built this huge army. I don't know if any of you guys did watch the clips from the movie 300, but he did create the Immortals and the Cavalry. I remember the Immortals and the Cavalry, they worked really well together. At first they would send in the Cavalry, and the Cavalry were a bunch of people on horses, bows and arrows and spears, and they would charge the pack and pretty much take out a lot of people that they could. And then they would send in the Immortals, and the Immortals were these really brave soldiers. They fought by hand or with swords, and they would come in after the cavalry, and they would pretty much kill the rest of the people that were left over or injured, and they marched through this way. And because of this, when they were able to work together, they were able to take over all these lands, and the people were happy because everyone that they took over were still able to do what they wanted to do. They didn't have to follow these strict rules. So this is what separated Persia, or Cyrus the Great and Persia, apart from other empires. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how the Persian Empire actually grew even stronger, and how they grew stronger under this new ruler called Darius the First. So we're going to talk about the expansion of the empire and how Persia could have been a really huge empire, but then they got stuck into a war, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. So today we'll talk about how the Persian Empire still was able to grow their empire under Darius the First. Here we go. But before we start, we're going to go ahead and review. So number one, who was Cyrus the Great? A lot of you guys got this correct. So Cyrus the Great, he was called great because of his military successes, and he was pretty much the person that started the Persian Empire. He took over Medes and he began to create his own empire of his own, which was known as the Persian Empire. Number two, why did the people that were conquered by Cyrus the Great not rebel? The reason why they didn't rebel was because, if you remember, he treated everybody equally. He treated everybody with kindness. He took care of his people. He let them still practice their rituals, their customs, and everyone was happy. Number three, why was Cyrus able to create and rule such the largest empire the world has ever seen? He was able to create this huge empire that no one's ever seen before because of his military success. He had this really strong army, and his system that he used and how he governed the people made everyone happy and didn't disrupt people's daily lives. So pretty much he conquered these people, but they never rebelled against him because he treated them so nice. And he had this really, really strong army, and these people such as the Immortals and the Cavalry. Okay, so here we go. Let's move on. So unfortunately, after Cyrus the Great died, his son Cambyses took over, and his son Cambyses was really good. He took over. He still continued what was going on with Cyrus, and he kept the empire intact, and he still used the same guidelines that his dad Cyrus was using. Unfortunately, he did pass away, and when people die or when leaders die, typically somebody else will try to take over, and things can be different because they're not used to this powerful leader. So when Cambyses died, the Persian Empire really didn't have a leader for 4 years, and in these 4 years there was a bunch of rebellions, there was a bunch of wars, chaos. Everybody was fighting for the throne until the guy in the picture, Darius the First. And Darius the First, he claimed his throne by pretty much he eliminated or killed all the people that were challenging him. He was ruthless. He was a really strong leader, and people loved him. But another thing that he did was he killed a lot of people to get to the throne. As soon as he got to the throne, though, he wanted to do certain things. First, he wanted to restore order to the empire because they were in such chaos because of no leader. He wanted to bring order and bring structure back to the Persian Empire. He also wanted to improve Persian society. He wanted to beautify the city. He wanted to make people enjoy the city. He wanted to make things easier for people to travel, for people to communicate, for him to get messages across, and he just wanted to make the Empire of Persia beautiful. The last thing that he wants to do, like all rulers, even though the Persian Empire is one of the largest the world has seen, he wanted to make it even bigger. And the reason why he wanted to do this is because he saw how successful Cyrus was and how he ruled and how strong the army was, and he decided, you know what, if I can take down all these kings, I'm pretty sure I can make this empire a lot bigger myself. So this was Darius the First. This is what he did, and now we're going to start to talk about what did he do to actually grow and beautify the empire. So the first thing Darius did was he divided the empire into 20 different provinces. Kind of like the United States, how we have 50 states. Persian Empire would have 20 of these different areas. And each of these areas is going to be assigned a satrap or a governor. So just like how we have every state has a governor, he would do that too. But these governors, what they would do, they wouldn't be different. So he would rule the whole Persian Empire, but he used all these other people to keep an eye on certain locations to make sure everything's going well. So what he did was these satraps, what they were doing was they collected taxes from the people, and then Darius collected the money. They served as judges, so if people were misbehaving or if they were getting in trouble, they would punish them and imprison them. If there's any rebellions or wars in their territory, they would have to deal with them and shut them down. And most importantly, all these satraps, even though they were leaders of these provinces, Darius made sure that they realized that they are not the rulers. They are just working for him, and they're overseeing it, and they must remain loyal to Darius. One thing that Darius did was he always reminded these people that he is the king of the kings. So even though these people or these satraps were kind of considered kings of the provinces, Darius was still king of everybody else. Okay, so just think of it like as if it was the United States. Every state has a governor, that would be like the satrap. They would be in charge of their states. And then we have the president, who is in charge of all the empire. So the president would be like Darius. He would be in charge of everyone. So they had to remember that regardless, you had to stay loyal to the king. So Darius did this just to keep a better eye on his empire because it was so huge. So after Darius restored order to the empire and made these improvements for the Persian society, he decided that we were going to start to beautify the city and make things better. So the first thing that he did was he built a lot of different roads. Back then there were no roads. Kind of like if you think when you go, if you've ever been hiking, those trails get you to the top of the mountain fairly easily, rather than going off-road and going through the trees and going up the steep mountains. That's kind of like how the roads were back then. There were no roads. So when Darius started to build these roads, it allowed people to travel quickly, it allowed people not to get lost, and it just connected a bunch of different parts of the empire together. So these roads were used by messengers, and they used these to travel quickly throughout the Persian Empire, and they would send messages, deliver mail, everything like that. One of the roads, which you see in the picture right there, it was called the Royal Road, and this was over 1,700 miles long. And these roads were so beautiful that even Persians' enemies admired these roads from the Persian empires. And they said that one of the enemies was saying that nothing travels so fast than these Persian messengers. These men will go distance, and when they go to these distance, if they follow the road, they can go in quick speed. They can go during rain, snow, any time of the year, day or night, because these roads were so well built and they were just connected everything together. The second thing that Darius did was he built a new capital for the empire. This capital was called Persepolis, and Darius wanted his capital to reflect the glory of his empire. So what he did was he filled the city with beautiful works of art. So for example, he put like 3,000 different carvings on the walls and the buildings, and he built huge statues that glittered with gold, silver, and precious jewels. And he wanted to do this to make the city look beautiful. If this is the capital city, he wanted to show everyone like this is what we take of our society, and this is what we want. We want it to look nice for all of our people. The last thing that he did was he created this new religion, and this new religion was called Zoroastrianism. Zoroastriani, I can't really say it that well. But what he did was this religion was almost like Star Wars. There was a good side and a bad side. And what he decided was that this religion is that the universe is always going to be in battle with these good energies and bad energies. And what we need to do is we need to start doing good things to start helping the good energy defeat the evil energy. So that was like his new religion, like the dark side and the good side. We want to take down the dark side so then everything will be in order. That's kind of like what his religion was all about. Let's all do good, spread good energy, and let's get rid of the bad energy. For the last thing they wanted to do to expand his empire is he wanted to conquer the Indus Valley, or he wanted to conquer India. And when he started to go to India, he didn't even reach India though, because however there was beginning to have these little rebellions in these states, and the messengers came back and said, Darius, you cannot go and expand. We need to take care of this business in the Persian Empire. So because of this rebellion, which we are going to talk about tomorrow, everything had to come to a halt and expansion stopped, and they had to go and fight this war. But I'm really excited to talk about this war because this war is going to be really cool to talk about because it's pretty much the movie 300, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So as a quick review, Darius rose to power after Cyrus the Great's son Cambyses passed away and died. He came to power and he had different ideas. He wanted to make sure that the society was reorganized. He wanted to reorganize the empire. He wanted to beautify the city, and he created a new religion. So first off, what Darius did was he divided the land into 20 different provinces. And when he did this, he assigned governors to the land. And these governors were meant to collect taxes, make sure everything was in order, and to report back to Darius. He also wanted to remind them that they're not rulers, they're just working for him. The second thing that Darius wanted to do is he built a lot of these roads. So these roads pretty much connected all the provinces together. And these roads were used for messengers. And these roads were the first roads that were in the Persian Empire and connected everything. And it made it a lot easier to travel and to communicate. The second thing that he did was he created a new capital. Persepolis. And Persepolis was a beautiful capital. He filled it with arts, carvings, gold, silver, jewels, and he just wanted people to take pride in their city and show how beautiful it was. The last thing that he did was he created a new religion called Zoroastrianism. And this thing was about two different universes, the good and the bad, and that we need to help the good rather than the bad. And these good spirits will take out the evil spirits and everything will be at peace. Just like in Star Wars, if we take out the dark side, everything will be good. Okay? So for homework, I want you guys to answer these 3 questions. Number 1, how did Darius the First change Persia's political organization? So think about what he did, how did he divide, what was these lands in charge of when he divided it? Number 2, how did Persia's road help improve the emperor's organization? So these roads, what were these roads used for, and how did it help out Darius and the Persian Empire? And number 3, how did Darius the First make the Persian Empire stronger? What did he do? So what were his accomplishments that made the empire stronger? Okay? Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know with a comment or a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If that's it, I'll see you guys all tomorrow.